I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
For 25 years, the National March for Life has been the nation's premier pro-life event.
I am choosing life for my baby.
Uniting hundreds of thousands of Canadians in Ottawa and around the nation who stand for life, while challenging our legislators to enact legal protection for Canada's most vulnerable.
I am deserving of assisted living, not assisted death.
On May 12th, Canadians will gather peacefully on Parliament Hill for a rally and march through the streets of Ottawa in defense of life at all stages.
I am deserving of care until my natural end.
The National March for Life.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Because existence is always enough.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this special update on the 25th National March for Life. We are 1 month away. My name is Matthew Wojciechowski, and I am the Vice President of Campaign Life Coalition and a member of the organizing committee for the March for Life. With me today, I'm joined by some other familiar faces. We got Josie Lucky, we got Maeve Roach, we got Debbie Duvall, and Dunn Media's Kevin Dunn, who are also members of the March for Life organizing committee. We've decided to do this video update for all of you to answer some of your questions, some of the questions you may have about the various programs, the various events, but more importantly, about the schedule of the March for Life during that March for Life week. We have a live chat below, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and one of our moderators will get back to you ASAP. So like I said before, we are 1 month away. This is going to be the first in-person March for Life at such a large scale in 3 years. Because of the pandemic, we had to adapt. We did a lot of virtual programming over the years. Last year, we had a smaller, more symbolic March for Life. But this year, we can't wait to see all of you back in Ottawa in large numbers. So talk to your pastor, talk to your church group, your school. Try to book that bus right away and plan your visit to Ottawa for the National March for Life. Also today, we will be announcing the keynote speakers for the Youth Summit and for the annual Rose Dinner, which once again is the first time in 3 years where we will have an in-person Rose Dinner. But before we get to that, and before we get to the exact schedule of the March for Life during that week, I'm going to throw it over to Kevin Dunn, who will talk a little bit about our ongoing Life on Film series. We're 3 movies in, and we still got a few really awesome videos for you. So Kevin, what can you say about the feedback so far and the whole process of putting this Life on Film together?
Thanks again, Matt. It's hard to believe we are 3 films into the series now, this National March for Life, Life on Film series. If you haven't tuned in, you should be tuning in every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Here's what to expect. If you haven't seen the promo, here's a trailer for the National March for Life, Life on Film series. Let's roll it.
Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
When I found out I was pregnant and I was, I think, 18, it just felt like a million bricks on top of me.
I knew that today would be the day that I begin my journey to meet my birth parents.
If you have this baby, it'll tear us apart.
I could lose my job asking you this, but are you sure about what you're doing?
This visual pilgrimage to the land of the Bible will inspire and encourage you in your faith as you journey with us through the life of Christ.
I feel like I'm a little girl at a party whose dad's asking her to leave early, and I'm throwing a fit. I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to go.
How is it that we can trust an organization for whom abortion is such an important part of their business model to simultaneously effectively prevent pregnancy and prevent abortion.
This riveting case seizes the national spotlight, involving a young man's pursuit to prevent his girlfriend from aborting their child.
So if you've been tuning in for the past number of weeks, you've seen Breath of Life, the first breath, wonderful, wonderful series on the story of Genesis. I lived on Parker Avenue, David Scott and his story. And of course, we're going to find out a little secret surprise about David and his role on the march later on in this broadcast. And Allison's Choice, the three previous movies that you've already seen. Coming up this Easter Sunday, we have a film called Life of Christ, a Holy Land Pilgrimage. I had the honor of directing and producing this film for EWTN, and they've loaned us this film for airing as part of the March for Life this year. It's kind of a special feature. It's not necessarily a pro-life film, but certainly it is, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. Our dear beloved Savior, Jesus Christ, featured, of course, in the Holy Land as we take a pilgrimage to the places he walked, and the apostles, all the way back to the Old Testament, to the Acts of the Apostles. Beautiful story. That's this Sunday with Prudence Robertson going to join us before the film. EWTN Pro-Life Weekly. She's the new host, and I'll be here this Sunday as well to chat about the film. So very, very exciting for our Easter Sunday special. Next week, we'll be tackling the issue of euthanasia and end-of-life issues with beautiful, poignant documentary called The Long Goodbye, the Kara Tippett story. We know you're going to enjoy that film. Very, very heart-wrenching, but very beautiful as we kind of delve into the issue of end-of-life issues. Following that, we're going to finish off our Life on Film series with two new productions. The Matter of Life, a documentary looking at the history of abortion in America, and where that's headed, certainly of interest to all of us in North America. And The Order of Rights. This is an engaging courtroom drama on the rights of the unborn, told through the eyes of a young father whose girlfriend is threatening to abort his child. So kind of a different view, quite an interesting story, and an excellent film. And joining us for that will be Jeff Gunderson from Campaign Life Coalition, before and after the film, as well as the film's producers. So and then of course during the March week on the Tuesday, there's a private screening of a new film called Life Mark. If you remember, if you've ever tuned into Pure Flix, you've seen the Kendrick brothers. They do a number of incredible movies, beautiful movies, Courageous being one of them. And Kirk Cameron is starring in this new film called Life Mark. Beautiful story about adoption and the joy of adoption. And that, of course, is a private screening. It's not public, unfortunately, but if you are, it's basically going to be held for pro-life, religious, political leaders, as well as others who will commit to having screenings of this film. So that's who will be present for that private screening in Ottawa. And that basically takes us to the end of our Life on Film series for 2022. But do tune in free online the next four weeks, April 17, 24, May 1st, and May 8th, online. All of the information, marchforlife.ca. Just go to events, the drop-down menu, and you'll see Life on Film. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Kevin. We hope you've enjoyed the film so far. The remaining films are just as awesome and wonderful and eye-opening. So we do hope that you join us for those film screenings. And now on to the official March for Life Week, which kicks off on Saturday, May the 7th, with the I Am Standing for Life National Pro-Life Roundtable. And now Josie, my colleague here, she will be one of the panelists for that discussion. So Josie, I'm going to throw it over to you now. What can people expect from this pro-life roundtable?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, viewers can expect a lot from the National Pro-Life Roundtable, I Am Standing for Life. It's going to be at 7 p.m. on the Saturday, May 7th, kicking off the National March for Life week. It is co-sponsored by Niagara Region Right to Life and the Knights of Columbus. It's going to be available online for free, and it will air on EWTN. So everyone can watch it, but I especially want to appeal, if you are a member of the Knights of Columbus, to let your brother Knights know about this event, to make sure your councils are promoting it, because it's a very special event, a very special opportunity to learn about pro-life apologetics and to educate yourself leading up to the National March for Life on that Thursday. So I'll be one of the members of the roundtable. In addition, there'll be Alex Schattenberg, the Executive Director of the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition, Angelina Ireland from the Delta Hospice Society, and Sister Antoniana from the Sisters of Life. We'll be talking about both abortion and euthanasia, so the beginning and end of life issues. And this roundtable is meant to be an update on the state of the nation, what's coming down the pipeline, and what you can do about it. How can you talk about these issues with your neighbors, with your friends, with your coworkers? How do you respond to pro-abortion or pro-euthanasia arguments? So we're going to be tackling that all in this roundtable. Again, all of these details are available online, so do plan on tuning in for that at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 7th.
Thank you for that, Josie. It sounds great, and I can't wait to see it. Even for those people who have been in the pro-life movement for many years, we always learn something new whenever we come together and actually discuss the issues and debate the issues. So I really encourage all of you to tune in on that Saturday as we kick off the National March for Life. And now, so moving on to the actual week of the march, starting on Wednesday, May the 11th, this will be our first full day of events. Starting with the Youth Summit that takes place at St. Mary's Church in Ottawa. Following the Youth Summit, there will be a candlelight vigil at the Human Rights Monument, a candlelight vigil for victims of abortion. So with us today, we have Maeve, who is one of the organizers of the Youth Summit, as well as the candlelight vigil. So Maeve, what can you tell us about these two wonderful events?
Absolutely. So this year's 2022 I Am the Pro-Life Generation Youth Summit will be held on May 11th, as Matt mentioned. Doors will be opening at 2:30 p.m. So this year's Youth Summit will look a little different than in years past. The summit will take place at St. Mary's Church in Ottawa. At 3 p.m., we begin with an optional adoration with praise and worship in the church. Myself and my fellow youth coordinator, Josie Ludke, will be emceeing the event. Closer to 4 p.m., we'll have our first session with one of our guest speakers, a dinner break closer to 5 p.m., and our final speaker session that will begin at 5:40 p.m. The summit will be closed with praise and worship and an optional Catholic Mass at 7 p.m. in the church. Lastly, following the Mass, there will be a 45-minute candlelit procession for the Youth Summit attendees to the Human Rights Monument in Ottawa for our annual candlelight vigil. Tickets to attend the Youth Summit are now on sale for $20 on the March for Life website. To register a group or for further inquiries, please contact youth@campaignlifecoalition.com, and we hope to see you all there.
Sounds very exciting, Maeve. I can't wait to see just all these young people back in Ottawa for a pro-life conference. We've been missing those over the last 3 years. So thank you for all that you're doing. A big question now, a lot of people want to know, who will be the keynote speakers for the Youth Summit?
Yes, so our two keynote speakers this year are Emily Albrecht from the Equal Rights Institute, who will be speaking about pro-life apologetics and highlighting the perspective that we are all deserving of human rights because we are all equal. And our second speaker will be David Scotton, who is an adoptee himself and the subject of the film I Lived on Parker Avenue, which was featured in our Life on Film series on April 3rd.
So Maeve, who can attend this Youth Summit?
So this in-person event is only for youth ages 13 to 29 years old. However, we will be live streaming the event on our YouTube channel for all to watch. And also, if you're a chaplain or you'd like to bring a school group, there is still time and you can contact us by visiting the March for Life website.
Thanks, May, for that information. We're very excited to finally have a youth conference in person in Ottawa at the March for Life. Now, Maeve, you did mention that there will be a candlelight procession to the Human Rights Monument, which is about a 45-minute walk away from the venue of the Youth Summit. Now, does everyone have to walk, or can some people drive, or what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so we do suggest that if you don't think you are willing to do the 45-minute procession, there is an option to drive to the Human Rights Monument, as well as some of the Youth Summit attendees will be leaving their cars at the St. Mary's church parking lot. It's probably a good idea to plan ahead and decide whether you're going to come back to the parking lot to pick up your vehicle, or if you'll be driving to the candlelight vigil.
Awesome. I mean, either way, I think the idea of having, potentially hundreds of young people walking through the streets of downtown Ottawa with candles at night is just going to be such a powerful image. So with that said, moving on to the candlelight vigil for victims of abortion. Josie, I'm going to bring this back to you. You've been part of the organizing committee for the vigil for many years now. It's the first vigil we get to have in person in 3 years. So I think everyone's really excited. I know personally the vigil is one of my favorite events during the March for Life week. What can people expect? And can you give them just some details as to when it starts, when it ends, and who the speakers will be?
Sure, Matt. The Candlelight Vigil is also one of my favorite events. I think for the rally and the march, everyone is really exuberant. It's really high energy. Everyone's chanting. And the Candlelight Vigil is such a contrast to that, because you're really mourning the lives lost to abortion. So we're going to have personal testimonies, prayers, reflection, praise and worship music. So it's definitely going to be very reflective in tone, very serious, somber, which is, I think, very appropriate when we consider the human rights injustice that is abortion. So that's going to be at 9 p.m. on the Wednesday night. It's going to be an hour long, so it's going to last till 10 p.m. All the times are Eastern. Once again, we really encourage you to go in person. It's really going to be nice to be back at the Human Rights Monument, because obviously the significance of that monument, and remembering that this is an injustice like so many of the past. But if you can't attend in person, this is also going to be an event that is live streamed that you can watch online. But definitely, because it's such a special event, if you are planning on going to Ottawa, maybe consider going a day before so that you can attend the Candlelight Vigil as well.
And Josie, just a question to you again. If there is a Candlelight Vigil procession happening from St. Mary's Church, where the Youth Summit is taking place, will there also be another procession from St. Teresa's Church, which has been the case for many years now?
Absolutely, Matt. Yes, there will be Mass at St. Teresa's at 7:30 p.m. And so there will be a procession from that church at 8:30 p.m. It's a lot shorter procession. So if you're worried about that 45-minute walk, don't worry. It's going to be the usual length. The 45-minute one is just for attendees of the Youth Summit. So the regular procession and Mass at St. Teresa's is happening. So do please plan on attending that one too.
Thank you for clarifying that, Josie. And now, Debbie, I'm going to bring you into this conversation. Let's talk about the Masses for Life and the various prayer services. This is something that a lot of people enjoy going to before the March for Life or during the week of the March. What's happening on that front?
Yeah, a lot is happening on that front. We're still in contact with bishops across the country, getting the masses, the provincial Masses for Life going. But this year, we have the National Mass for Life at Notre Dame Cathedral, downtown Ottawa at 10 a.m., as we have in years past. And it's also going to be live streamed, so for those who can't make it. We also have Masses at St. Patrick's and also at St. Clement's. We're currently updating our website every day, so you'll see other Masses and pro-life prayer services taking place the morning before the march. And as we know, Matt, as important as political activism is, we also have to pray and fast. So that's a very good opportunity for everyone to pray before the March for Life.
Thank you for that, Debbie. And following the Mass, the National Mass for Life at 10, we will be gathering on Parliament Hill at 12:30 for the pro-life rally, which will feature special guests from the pro-life movement and religious and political leaders. And following the rally, we're hoping to take it to the streets at 1:30 for the National March for Life. And now, Debbie, I'm going to throw this over to you. what's the situation like on the ground right now in Ottawa and on Parliament Hill?
Well, Matt, on Parliament Hill, as you know, is still under construction, but there's still a very large space for us to be. So that's going to be great. It's going to look good. It's going to work out well. We're getting all sorts of calls. We're getting emails. People are excited to be back. I'm getting lots of purchases for the Rose Dinner. So people are very excited to be on the Hill again this year. And every year for the past 25 years, this is our 21st March, we've had thousands of pro-life Canadians. So it'll be great to look forward to seeing them again. And the one thing about the pro-life and the march is that we come together, and it reignites the pro-life movement. It brings people together. And with those fabulous speakers that we're going to have on the Hill, there's a few calls for action. It reminds us that each and every day we are called to speak up for the unborn, for life from conception to natural death. So yes, it'll be very exciting to have the crowds back. And I know that this crowd, the pro-life crowd, will never stop until legal protection for all human beings is achieved.
Amen to that. So I echo Debbie's sentiment, like, please come out to Ottawa. We can't wait to see all of you there in the masses. Last year was great. It was a bit of a smaller March for Life, so we just can't wait to see all of you back in Ottawa. And, you know, maybe one day we'll reach those amazing numbers we had a few years ago where we had 15, 20, 25,000 marchers in Ottawa. So please come out, make your plans, take the day off from work, talk to your school, talk to your church, and start planning to come and march with us on May the 12th. Now, Debbie, you did mention the Rose Dinner. The Rose Dinner will be back in person for the first time in 3 years. What can people expect about the Rose Dinner?
They can expect an excellent time. Anyways, the Rose Dinner is always a wonderful evening where the pro-life movement comes together, we fellowship, we share stories, we catch up, and again, we just recommit ourselves to the cause. You can purchase your tickets online at marchforlife.ca, or you can call us if you want, and we can buy them over the phone. So that evening, there'll be a delicious 4-course meal with a really special guest keynote speaker, and of course, a lot of other really excellent guests.
So you mentioned excellent speakers. So I guess we might as well announce who our keynote speaker is this year for the Rose Dinner. So who is it, Debbie?
Very excited, very excited. The CEO of Babylon Bee, the world's leading satire news website. Excellent. Seth Dillon. So Seth has got a wide range of topics he can speak to us about, and I just can't wait to see him. And you need to come and be there and see him yourself.
You heard it here first, folks. Seth Dillon, the CEO of the Babylon Bee, will be our keynote speaker for the annual Rose Dinner. Now, for some of you who maybe haven't had the chance to read the various articles from the Babylon Bee, or who haven't, who don't know who Seth Dillon is, Josie, what can people expect from having such an awesome guest speaker?
So Matt, they can expect a lot. They can expect Seth to be funny, because that's kind of the point of satire, but also they can expect him to be really, really smart, because I think you have to be really smart to do satire effectively. So if you haven't seen any Babylon Bee pieces before, I definitely recommend checking them out on social media. Unfortunately, you can't actually follow the Babylon Bee on Twitter right now, because they have been put in Twitter prison for an inappropriate tweet of theirs. But Seth Dillon has not yet got canceled from Twitter, so you can check out his tweets. But they're also on Facebook and Instagram, and you can just Google them and check out their website. They have really poignant content. And a lot of the times, actually, the joke is that so many Babylon Bee headlines just become real news. So they're kind of prophetic in that way. So yeah, the Rose Dinner attendees are in for a real treat, a great commentary on free speech and the necessity of being able to call out those in power right now. But also, I really want to note that Seth has written about abortion. He is 100% pro-life. So expect some really insightful points from him on that topic as well. So I'm very enthused, obviously, but I assure you it's well worth your time. And check out the Babylon Bee right now, because they're producing some really great content and they're being noticed for it. And people are afraid of them, actually.
Yeah, and when you say they're being noticed, what you mean is that big tech is canceling them because they're speaking the truth, right? Through satire.
And they actually played a large role in Elon Musk purchasing shares in Twitter. So that's an indication of the role that this satire news site plays in culture right now.
I really like their slogan, which is the world's best fake news that you can trust, So that kind of gives you an indication of the kind of evening you'll be in for if you come to our annual Rose Dinner. With that said, Kevin, I'm going to bring this back to you now because we're so excited to have all this in-person content, finally, all these in-person events in Ottawa. But with that said, we will be broadcasting most, if not all, of our events online, but also through the wonderful television station EWTN. So EWTN will be on the ground again this year. What can you tell our viewers about the broadcast, especially for those who can't make it to Ottawa this year?
Thanks, Matt. Yes, EWTN will be on hand on May the 12th at the National March for Life rally for live coverage from 11:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you don't subscribe to EWTN yet, you can get it through your local cable provider or watch live on EWTN.com. My co-host for the day is Julia Hartman from Net Ministries of Canada, and she's just beautiful in every single way. Pro-life, pro-family, just a wonderful, wonderful person. I'm so excited about working with Julia this year. 11:30 a.m. start from Parliament Hill. The show is going to feature interviews with prominent pro-life influencers from across the country, politicians, religious leaders, and organizations, pro-life organizations, those who value life from conception until natural death. We're also going to have 5 short films, like very short vignettes, featuring some very personal stories from mothers and caregivers, pregnancy crisis centers, people who live with disabilities, all under the banner of this year's theme, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. It's going to be a great day starting at 11:30 Eastern on EWTN. So please do tune in. Thanks so much, and back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Kevin. And speaking of broadcasting and videos, I'm going to bring Maeve back here to talk a little bit about how you can get involved in the March for Life and how you can share your own story. So Maeve, we just launched this wonderful March for Life video contest for everyone, all ages. What can you tell people about that?
Yes, so we have launched an official National March for Life video contest. So this contest urges pro-life Canadians to record a short video of themselves sharing what this year's theme, I Am, means to them as a means of showcasing the many faces of Canada's thriving pro-life movement. So all of the video submissions will be entered into a draw to win some incredible National March for Life prizes, including tickets to our Rose Dinner and the Youth Summit. Video submissions will also be featured on all of our social media platforms in a compilation and may even air on EWTN. So all contest entries must be submitted by Friday, April 22nd, and you can do so by visiting the March for Life website and clicking on Video Contest for the complete contest details.
Thank you for that, Maeve. And thank you to Debbie, thank you to Josie, thank you to Kevin. The full schedule of the March for Life is officially online, marchforlife.ca. We are 1 month to go. We cannot wait to see all of you in person on the Hill, marching through downtown Ottawa, at the Rose Dinner, at the Youth Summit, at the Candlelight Vigil, and at all the various Masses for Life and prayer services. So again, we can't wait to see you in Ottawa on May the 12th. Take care and God bless.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
For 25 years, the National March for Life has been the nation's premier pro-life event.
I am choosing life for my baby.
Uniting hundreds of thousands of Canadians in Ottawa and around the nation who stand for life, while challenging our legislators to enact legal protection for Canada's most vulnerable.
I am deserving of assisted living, not assisted death.
On May 12th, Canadians will gather peacefully on Parliament Hill for a rally and march through the streets of Ottawa in defense of life at all stages.
I am deserving of care until my natural end.
The National March for Life.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Because existence is always enough.